Hey, and we're back with another episode of Before You Buy, that show where we give you some straight up gameplay and our first impressions of the latest games releasing. As usual, it's me, Jake, and we've been talking about a lot of remasters lately, and this one is Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered. This is a new, updated version of the game releasing on PS5 and PC. So it's $50 on its own if you buy it, if you've never played Horizon Zero Dawn, but it's $10 to upgrade if you already own the original game. Sony's done this before. They did it with The Last of Us, and now they're doing it here, and it's pretty cut and dry. It's really simple. I think this is going to be a pretty short video, but it's a good remaster. They did a really good job. It looks somewhat better. It's got more modern bells and whistles. You know, looking at it on YouTube with YouTube's compression, you probably don't notice too much of a difference, but there is some there. Is this an absolute game changer? Go out and buy this, oh my god, right this second? No. But I'd say if you never finished Horizon Zero Dawn and you do own it, the $10 upgrade's probably worth it. Or if you've just never played Horizon Zero Dawn and you've been getting the itch, this is the best way to play it. And just so you know, this is first impressions. The gameplay you see here is pretty early game, so it's spoiler free. We've been playing a review copy, and this footage is all captured on PS5, and the game on PS5 gives you two options: fidelity mode and frame rate mode. So all of this gameplay here is running frame rate mode, and the frame rate has been pretty good. Seems to be pretty close to 60, and so far after a few hours I have been satisfied with that. No hitches or anything like that. They could screw it up in later areas, but so far it's looking pretty good. This remastered version of the game was done by Nixes, the people who do a lot of PC ports for Sony games, and the first PC launch of Horizon Zero Dawn was a little iffy at launch. It definitely had some issues and some optimization problems, but by them working on this remastering, they got to do some different stuff here, kind of flesh out the game a little bit, and like I said, add some more features. You got 3D audio support, you have full DualSense support now, so the triggers, withdrawing a bow, you get all those feelings like you do in the sequel. Essentially, what they did here is bring Horizon Zero Dawn up to par with Horizon Forbidden West. In terms of tech, visuals, lighting tech, all that. And the lighting is slightly different here. The color palette is slightly different if you do look at some side-by-sides, but I do think overall the game looks way more dense now. The foliage looks way more lush, way more detailed. The ground textures are way more detailed. It seems like they've peppered town and hub areas with more NPCs. Shadows look really good, really smooth. The particle effects, everything, also hair effects and hair shaders, the bounce of the hair and the outfits and cloth all just feel like they look better, and really all the work here was put in character models and faces. So apparently the developers went back to the well here a little bit with adding more motion capture stuff, more face tech to all the NPCs and characters to make it feel closer to the sequel Forbidden West, and I think it really shows. It was the first thing I noticed. Seeing Aloy talking to an NPC, and the way the faces look, the way the characters' faces are lit in conversation, everything just looks really, really dramatic and really, really realistic now. Honestly, as much as I thought Forbidden West was fun, if a little bit forgettable, one of the things I remember the most about that game are the really expressive and lifelike characters, and now you got that full bore here in the original game, Zero Dawn. The characters' faces in the original game were never an issue by any means, but now they are significantly overhauled, and it made a big difference for me playing for a couple of hours. Not to mention the fact that, while yes, all the character models, especially the main character models, are beefed up and just look significantly better and more detailed, they also kind of fixed Kid Aloy a little bit. They tweaked her freakish, weird little gremlin face. She still looks deeply unsettling, as a lot of video game children faces do, but it looks a little better, and I appreciate that they tried. Issues I really saw was a little bit of pop-in in early cutscenes, as well as a couple of glitches in cutscenes with like Rost's bow just kind of floating around behind him. It was a little weird. Considering it's a remaster of like what is now technically kind of an old game, it should be completely refined at this point, but that was the only little issue I really saw. I haven't been able to check out the PC version. I'm just talking about the PlayStation 5 version here, but on a PS5 with my good sound system and like my LED TV, I felt like I was playing a modern game. if you squint or if you're just walking by and you don't notice the gameplay differences, you could think I was playing Forbidden West, the sequel, and I think that's impressive. One nice example of modern technology too is that the game loads super fast. I would start it up from scratch and I'd be back in the game in seconds, which is really impressive. It also comes with a couple of little bells and whistles and goodies. There's a digital art book. They also give you some packs for items, as well as a handful of new outfits and different bows, which some actually look pretty cool. And some of the overall outfits and costumes just do look a little cooler. They cleaned them up a little bit, but also you get the whole Frozen Wilds expansion here with this when you buy in, and that is a decent chunk of game that does some pretty interesting things. I think not a lot of people really played that, so this is probably your opportunity. And yeah, I think that's really the long and short of it. If you're not familiar with Horizon Zero Dawn at all, it's a big open world action adventure game with some light RPG elements. There are tons and tons of side quests and towns and hubs and NPCs to get little activities from. You're in this post-apocalyptic world in the far future where machines are essentially a lot of the animals. They're meant to be hunted, controlled, tamed. And with that, the game, with its combat and encounters, kind of has a little bit of a Monster Hunter feel to it. Maybe like a Monster Hunter action-adventure light, where you set up traps, you scan these big robotic monsters, you figure out their weaknesses and their weak points. You shoot at those weak points to knock off crafting components to make better weapons, better armor, better ammo, stuff like that. And a lot of the creatures or machines that you fight against are pretty fearsome. Aloy doesn't have like the most amount of like defensive capabilities, which I still don't love, but you have all those really interesting encounters with these machines, but also human encounters. You're clearing out bandit bases and stuff like that with some pretty standard but satisfying stealth. And really, I think the star of the show, and it's gonna either land for you or not, it's the world and the atmosphere and the lore they're building up. This is a completely new world, new adventure, new characters, new tribes, and although it is robots in a post-apocalyptic future, the interesting thing about these games is that they don't like really treat it like you would typically see in a sci-fi thing. It's all very cultural, like tribal, almost like medieval. There's a lot of really, really different factions in this world that have established and kind of rebuilt humanity. And it's cool to discover and really see those play out, because I remember when I first played this game, jumping in, I expected to run around as this Aloy character and hunt machines and just kind of be this like native style person with a bow and arrow and cloth clothing, and that was really it. But the more you dive into the game, you meet factions with warriors, armored badasses, castles, all kinds of weird, crazy stuff. It is a big game too. It can be pretty overwhelming. There are a lot of NPCs waiting to talk to you, give you side quests and stuff like that. But it's kind of worth venturing out because it's always fun to stumble upon a new machine or a new hidden cave or cauldron, and then also just all the different biomes.
A tall neck. Looks just like Ross described. The signal must be coming from its head. I need to get up there. Okay, time to climb up to its head.
Abandoned buildings and streets and stuff, yeah, sure, but also beautiful snowy mountains, grasslands, rivers, plains, forests, all of that, you name it. It looked gorgeous then, but it looks significantly better now. And for a lot of you guys, it's only $10 for an upgrade. Do I think this remaster was like the most necessary thing in the world? No, absolutely not. I will be the first to admit when they announced this thing, I was like, what's the point? But hey, here, what we have, it's inoffensive, it's slightly updated, it's pretty reasonably priced depending on your situation. And yeah, that's about it. Honestly, I'm curious to see how this and the sequel perform on the PS5 Pro. We've been talking about that updated version of the PS5, the more powerful version, is releasing soon, so we're probably going to throw both of these games on that machine to see what happens. But for now, this is a quick before you buy. You know how this goes by now. We give you some pros, some cons, and some personal opinions, so now we want to hear yours down in the comments. Are you looking forward to revisiting this game? Have you never played it and maybe maybe this is your time you're jumping in. I'd love to know what you think at all about Horizon Zero Dawn, but also Forbidden West. I'm partial to the first game. I like the first game more, but there's a couple of gameplay things that are cooler in the second one. I don't know. Let me know how you feel about this series. Some people are mixed on it. Some people absolutely love it to death. So let's talk. If seeing the gameplay footage here in all its 4K glory helped, inform your purchase or anything like that, clicking the like button helps us out. We really appreciate it. And if you're new, consider subscribing, maybe hitting that notification bell because we put out videos every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.